Howdy guys, Brandon here, also known as Cowboy Duke. Today we will be playing TCG Card Shop Simulator. This is a very wholesome and simple game. The plushies are real, despite the rumors. That ends in a few days. Today is October 9th. I have procrastinated much, but here is the beginning of our, we could call it a Let's Play series. Do people even call these Let's Play series anymore? You can tell I'm from the old internet. So let's start a new save. Tetramon are basically this universe's form of Pokemon and Digimon. So we got tutorial on the left. WASD is our move. Space to jump. Shift to sprint. I am old. I do not hold shift to sprint. I just press it and it goes and controls the same way controllable crouches. I quit my day job to open my own card game store. I would not actually do this. I make a decent living as a local truck driver. This is it. Time to get down to business. To defeat the Huns. We're not actually going to call it that. We're going to call it Duke's Deckworks. And we will one day rival Game Workshop. So first thing we got to do is open our phone, go over here to stock order, and stock up on some cards. Now you may be wondering, Duke, why are you buying 6? Because that shelf in there, this shelf right here, holds 6 packages. Each one of these particular packages holds 32 card packs. And each shelf, on this particular shelf, can hold 32 card packs. It is perfect. One would say balanced even, as all good things should be. So, I'm trying to figure out where... Well, first off, let's start with some life updates. Where have I been all your life? I've been doing things, mostly working. Making many poor life choices. And surviving. So one of the first things would be the spinal surgery. That would probably be the one of the most important things that has happened to me recently. And I say recently because it was like, 3.5 years ago. But before that, let's look at our pricing. So the average cost of one of these is $1.74. Market price is calling for 3. I like nice round numbers. So we're going to sell these for $3 a pop. We're going to make $1.25 per unit. Now we're going to open up, and we will wait behind the counter like good salesmen do. And we will become Apu, seller of cards, instead of slushies. If you get that joke, you're as old as me. Feel the back pain and the knee pain. What a bargain! Yes, indeed. I sell below market rate. $9. You can use your numpad in this game. If you have a numpad, you can use that for credit card transactions. You can also use the top row of numbers, and when you're done with a transaction, you press space, and that ends the transaction. This guy paid cash. He paid exact amount. We don't have to worry about stuff. Now we currently have a task. Successfully complete 5 checkouts. We've already done 2. This is a bare bones tutorial. We can't do a whole lot until we complete at least some of these tutorials. Oh, he has a little exclamation point. He wants to either trade or sell us something. What do you got? He is selling us a musket, EX foil with gold trim. He's asking $586. We have the money. However, I am declining buying this card because I'm not going to spend almost every dollar this store currently has to buy a single card, even though I could easily turn it around in the next few moments and sell it for a decent profit. Because if I'm doing any individual card sales, I'm marking those guys up. We will make money off of individual cards. But for now, we're going to make profit. We're going to make money on volume. So now they want us to grab a couple of these guys. Right click to pull things off shelves, left click to put them on. We're going to run over this corner real quick and press R to open the pack. Look at all these wonderful, cute little Tetramon. Ooh, that one's shiny. We need to pick this pace up because that guy's waiting. I have it on auto move, so every time I get a new card, it's gonna show us, hey, you got a new card. Well, we're just starting out, so every card is basically a new card. Okay, sorry about that. Tutorialing for the internet. You know how it is. $20. Thank you. Come again. My dude, my guy. What do you do for a living that you can spend $51 on card packs? I want to know. I want that job. Maybe I don't. So, stock is kind of getting a little low in some places. So what we're going to do is, I like to keep things topped off. So we have gotten level 2 now. We can buy the 64 pack. Now, why this is a good thing is because the 64 pack is the equivalent of 232 packs. I know, math. But what it does is it saves us some shipping costs, because every item we order has an appropriate shipping cost attached to it. And so to save money, you want to buy the bigger bulk items. So instead of buying individual 32 packs, we're going to be buying 64 packs. And we're too shy. That's okay. But anyways, I had spinal surgery. Long story short, unit of plywood which weighed 2,400 pounds fell off the trailer as I was delivering to a customer. He wants $3. Left click to bring dollars out, right click to take them back. And fell, hit me on the head. How dare you come here and not buy something? Oh, you want to sell me something. Look at that cute little kitsune. I'll give you $4 for it. All right. Sir, you're not supposed to be behind the counter. This is a fun little thing to do because it allows you to have a little bit of ADHD and a little bit of scatterbrainness, and we can call it fun. So anyways, the unit fell off the trailer because the unloader, they had a forklift, and he was not paying attention. And I told him, hey, don't unload anything until you can physically see me. Well, he decides that he's going to go ahead and unload something, even though he can't see me. It caused the trailer to shift, and a unit fell off the trailer and hit me on the way down. Luckily, it was just a grazing wound. Almost took my scalp off, flattened my hat, and I had to go to the hospital and get 28 staples put in. About 2 weeks later, get the staples out, all is well. I didn't miss much work, and it was paid by workman's comp. So, all's well that ends well, right? Not exactly. So several months later, I'm talking like 8 months later, I start developing a mysterious neck pain. And it's in my neck and shoulder. And so I go visit a chiropractor. He cracks me like a glow stick. You know, helps but doesn't solve the problem. It still lingers. And I, continue working because I am a stubborn man. And I end up thinking that I'm having a heart attack at one point, and I go to the hospital, and they hook me up to, EKG and, do some tests, and it's like, no, your heart's fine, your heart's healthy. And I'm like, so it was probably a panic attack. So my body is noticing something is wrong, but, me being the conscious self, I'm too stupid to notice or figure it out. So I end up going to a doctor. And I tell him what's going on, and he's asking me some questions. Oh no, we have a Stinky man. Hold on. Story time is paused. We have Stinky. Stinky is not allowed in the store. Stinky is not allowed in the store. Oh, I gotta do that. Okay. I'm probably gonna get a bad review because he stood around stinking up the place too long. But you gotta watch out for stinky people. They are the only enemies in this entire game, and that's using the term enemy loosely, is stinky people. We'll have a way of solving them later, but currently we just have to walk over with the smell good and douse them in smell good. Anyways, I go to the doctor, and he does some tests, and he's like, yeah, there's something neurologically wrong with you. So I'm going to send you over to a neurologist. This is a person that studies brain and spines and the connections that run with it. So I go and talk to him, and he performs some other tests. And he goes, do you have any, like, he did some tests on my fingernails and fingertips. He watched me walk and did some other things. And he goes, I'm going to recommend you get an MRI, and we, scan your entire spine and your head. See if we can find anything, right? And so I get the MRI. And about a week and a half later, I hear back from his office, and it's one of his head nurses. And she goes, wow, it's so cheap. Wow, the MRI was so cheap. Spoiler alert, it's not actually. Oh, wow. Ma'am, I think you bought an entire box worth. 24 units. So, to quickly scan items, just hold your left mouse button down, and you will just have to run them over, and you can scan them quickly. We're going to pop over here and turn the lights on, because it's almost 5 o'clock and it gets pretty dark. In fact, we are going to buy another 64 pack, because we got a shelf that's empty. And empty shelves are bad, because the NPCs in this game are rather stupid. They will walk over to this shelf and see an empty shelf and get all depressed. Because they're like, he's running out of stock. All the other shelves can be filled, but if they see an empty one, boy howdy, do they just get sad. I probably should buy another one. We'll cross that bridge in a moment. Anyhow, I go to get the MRI. Not cheap, by the way. Not super expensive. It wasn't as expensive as I thought it'd be. But it wasn't cheap. 49 bucks. And they find the source of the problem. So along your spinal column, which is what your spine is, it's a column of a bunch of different vertebrae. There's this little tube that has the consistency of a balloon. That is called your spinal cord. Spinal fluid goes from your brain down your body and ends in your tailbone. And this is what helps send all the little signals to your entire body. This is a good thing. You need this to live. Remember this, we will be coming back to it later. Come to find out, at my C5, C6 vertebrae, there is a major blockage. It's over 90% blocked. Now, they didn't tell me this outright. I had to schedule what is it called again? A remote doctor's visit. Because I couldn't skip work to just randomly show up to, because their working hours are the same as my working hours. Well, not exactly. My working hours start at 4 a.m. But I can't get off work in time. At the time that I was working, I couldn't get off of work in time to actually get to their office before they closed, because they closed early in the day, because of course they do, they're doctors. And so, I have to do this remote doctor's visit. Another stink. I must fix the stink. So when you have a can in your hand, so you right click to get the can out, you press R to activate your spray, and then you left click to spray. It won't spray. Oh, look at that, it does spray randomly. I was left clicking and it wasn't doing anything. I'm like, oh, so you can only spray when, there's someone stinky nearby. But apparently you can just waste spray if you want. But you just left click it, press R to deactivate the spray, and then you just left-click it back into the box. Anyways, I know it's like there's a whole lot going on. I could probably do a dedicated video on just this without doing all of this, but I want y'all to know what's been going on with me. And those that most of y'all are probably my friends in these first few videos, and you're gonna know. But for future people who don't know, they will now know. Anyways, the neurologist hooks me up with a neurosurgeon, who then looks at my MRI results and is shocked and amazed, and in both a good and bad way, because he has seen a spinal blockage like this before. What happened was in between each of your vertebrae, there's known as a spinal disc. It has the consistency of crab meat, and it's used to cushion between the vertebrae. Did you just see that guy's face? Just... Anyways, I'm getting distracted. So they're kind of like... They're just little cushions. Well, mine happened to have, at some point, probably when the unit fell, and the unit of plywood fell and hit me in the head. Oh, the day is done. Cool. So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to order one more unit of these. I should probably not buy them one at a time because it charges me $5 per box I order. I could be saving money by ordering multiple. But I also don't want my cash reserves to get too low. And, because the last thing we want is to run out of cash. And, yeah, we'll go ahead and order one more box. Just for giggles. And to make sure that our shelves are fully stocked. And then we're just going to put this over here. And we're going to end the day. And this is the end of day one. We profited negative $356.76. It's the first day of business. Of course, we're going to be doing a negative. Now we're going to immediately open. What we're going to do is we're going to run over here. Market price changes every day. So make sure to check this. We're still below market rate, so people are going to want to come in here and buy lots. That's what we want. We want them buying lots. One thing to also keep a tab on is your pay bills. This increases every day. And at the end of 7 days, it will automatically draft out all the money that you owe. You can keep ahead of this by paying ahead of time. That way you're not surprised by some expensive bill at the end of the week and maybe shooting you in the negative. $12 and change. Everyone is loving the cheap prices, as it should be. We're the new kid on the block. We want everybody to come here, so we sell cheap. We sell so cheap that people will buy entire stocks at once. $4. Thank you. Come on. No, go back. So anyways, the neurosurgeon looks at my MRI results, and he goes, I've only seen a blockage this bad one other time. And it's over 90% blocked. So my spinal cord is literally compressed by the disc because it actually exploded. And it exploded backwards towards my spinal column, putting pressure on it and cutting off the flow of spinal fluid. And because it's in my neck, in the middle of my neck, everything below my neck is subject to, the bad. We're just going to call it the bad, TM. And the neurosurgeon's only seen one case this bad before. And the guy was paralyzed from the waist down, could not walk, had to be in a wheelchair, and could not go to the bathroom on his own. And I went up 4 flights of stairs to go meet this doctor because I didn't want to wait however long it was going to take the elevator to get up to his floor while working. And so he's just shocked and amazed, in a good way. So he tells me, hey, I recommend the spinal surgery. He goes, there are risks with this spinal surgery that you should be aware of. And me, being the ever sarcastic one, goes, well, what's the worst that could happen, Doc? I die? And he goes, yes. In fact, there is a chance that could happen because, we're doing surgery around your spinal cord. And if I accidentally nick it, you cannot put a Band-Aid on it to stop it from leaking spinal fluid. And if enough spinal fluid leaks, you die. Congratulations, you died. Play the clip of you died from Soulborn Games. I'll have to find that clip and put it in the video, because it's going to be funny. 51... And so I'm just like, you know what? We'll just not say anything and just listen to the doctor speak. That's probably the smartest thing to do. What do you want? You want to sell me this card? You're asking more than market price. I tell you what, I will give you exactly market price for it. Cool. We can add a new card to our Rolodex. And to open your Rolodex of cards, you can see we have 22 of 1,452 cards collected. I've organized these by value. You can open this by type, Tetramon, Destiny, Ghost, and Graded. We'll get to these later. I have it currently set it by price. Because, I want to know which is my most expensive card in case I want to sell them later. Now, we do have a thing that I just noticed because I haven't been reading. I've been trying to tell a story and getting distracted by customers. We have a task that says, buy a play table and put it in the shop. We're not going to do that just yet. Even though we probably should. Because the play table is free money. It is always free money. It will forever be free money. It costs us $200, I believe. But it generates money. And once it's paid the $200 off, it continues paying dividends. But anyways, I'm distracted again. So, neurosurgeon recommends surgery. I go and get the surgery a few months later. And at this point, I'm starting to notice the effects of the spinal blockage. And that's numbness in my hands and feet. A little TMI, but this is something you should be aware of. If you feel the urge to pee, all people should know this. I was about to say all guys, but really it's all people. When you feel the urge to pee, it's normally not one of those things of I have to pee and I have to pee right now. It's one of those, oh, I've noticed that I have to pee. And so you can sometimes wait a little bit before you have to pee. In my case, when I felt the urge to pee, it's like, hey, you got like 10 seconds to find somewhere to pee, or we're just doing this without you. And as a truck driver, that's not how you want to live your life, because, you end up peeing all over the... Jesus, dude! We'll get to Jesus here in a minute, because I do want to include that in my videos. It probably won't be on this first video. $111 worth of cards. I want to know what job you have. What do you have for us? You have a nice... What is that? Feyrush? Forush? I'll give you $3 for it. Cool. We got it at a slight discount. In fact, we need to buy more cards. Let's go over here, buy a couple boxes of those before they buy me out of house and home. Sirs, I had 2 major Blockbuster customers come in and just buy up everything. Because what they'll do is the more items you have on the shelf, the better. Because they're more inclined to... Look at how empty those shelves are. They're more inclined they are to buy. And the more inclined they are to buy, the more they're actually going to buy. Possibly. Some will only come in and buy one. That's just a thing that happens. What do you mean there's still cards in here? Oh, there was one card here. Why are you behind the counter? You should not be... No wonder I ran out. Look at this guy. Anyways. I get the surgery. And I wake up from surgery out of anesthesia. Out of surgery. And it's supposed to be like... A spinal surgery like this is actually very common. It's done fairly often. And normally there's no issues. I say normally. We're going to put normal in quotation marks here. In my case, it was anything but normal. And normally it only takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to perform said surgery. In my case, it took 4 hours. Because what ended up happening is, what had happened was, the disc that had exploded and was putting pressure on my spinal column, or my spinal cord, did something called calcify, which means it turned from soft, squishy crab meat stuff to bone. And the doctor had to literally chisel it out from around the spinal cord. This caused a lot of inflammation and a lot of damage around my spinal cord and in my neck. I woke up completely paralyzed from the neck down. And for 3 days, I was completely paralyzed. If any of y'all have seen the movie Kill Bill, when she wakes up out of surgery, and we are not buying a $2,000 card. You're asking way too much more than it. I am not I don't even have $2,000 to give you. I could give you all the money this store has and it wouldn't be enough. No, get out of here. Ma'am, you are too close and you are behind the counter. Maybe I should up my price. If they're going to keep buying this much, I may just want to up my prices to make more profit. Now I sound like a Ferengi. Anyways. Boxes, no items. It was on the third day that, well, so, when I say I'm completely paralyzed, it's not entirely true. I could still move my head around. So I wasn't an entirely a vegetable. But if you've seen the movie Kill Bill, when she wakes up after, like, it wakes up in the hospital after getting beaten, she looks down. No, she's not in the hospital. Or maybe she is. I forget exactly, but it's that scene where she looks down at her foot, because she can't move anything, and she goes, wiggle your big toe. It's like, just wiggle your big toe. And after a few moments, we have a Stinky. What do you want? I tell you what, bud. You were Stinky. You get the Stinky low ball offer. Okay. I'll give you 26. I'll give you 27, and that's my final offer. No, 27. Okay, leave. Bye. You. So it was like, it took about 24 hours before I could actually, like, move my hands and my arms a little. And the first thing I learned to do was do a thumbs up. But when I woke up out of surgery, I couldn't move anything. I could move my head very little, and they did not want me moving my head because, you know, I just had spinal surgery. That's the last thing the doctors want, is you moving, you know, the thing that they just did surgery on. The bad could happen. If the bad happens, even more bad happens. So I can buy 2 boxes. We are doing very well, having no play table, no additional sources of income, no additional items to sell. We have 1 shelf. Like, we're doing pretty good. No one's complaining. I'll show you how to see if they're complaining here in a second. Are you going to buy something? You did. Good. Good. $6. Okay. And, she looks down and wiggles her big toe and everything's fine. I look down at my big toe just after getting out of surgery and waking up. Can't wiggle my big toe. So I'm like, okay, wiggle your foot. The foot does not wiggle. And I look over at my hand. I can barely move my head. And I'm like, move something. Anything. And nothing's moving. Now some would chalk this up to, you know, anesthesia. Makes sense. In my case, it was because of the significant trauma and inflammation around my neck. Because they had put probes throughout my body. They stuck probes in my body all the way down. And they could see the signals being sent as he was doing the surgery. We have a Stinky person. And so they knew the signal was there, it's just my body wasn't acknowledging it, strangely enough. And so the first day, it's like after the first day, I was able to start moving my hands and my arms very limitedly. And I was able to, I relearned how to do a thumbs up. So when people ask me how I'm doing, I can give them a thumbs up. The second day, I had a little bit more movement in my arms, in my hands, nothing in my legs. And I even had no feeling in my legs. Let me tell you, I had a catheter in so that I could pee. I didn't even know there was a catheter in me. It wasn't until one of the nurses came in to empty the catheter bag that I knew I had a catheter. That's how little feeling I had down there. In fact, I accidentally pooped myself in the hospital bed because I didn't feel the need to pee or to poop. It just happened. Anyways, in to start the next day. So this is the end of day 2. Hey, we made $600 in profit. Okay, so now that I have a few moments of peace, I'll finish the story. It was not until the third day, and what my mother was doing, I love my mother, as all should. She was rubbing frankincense oil on my legs and my arms and helping move my legs and arms so that I would not develop muscle atrophy, which is muscle death and degeneration. And so it wasn't until the end of the third day that I actually had feeling in my feet. She put frankincense oil on her hands and started rubbing them on my feet, and I was so sleep deprived. Like I couldn't do anything, so I slept a lot, which is good. Sleep heals. So my foot slightly kicks at her, and I mumble in my sleep, "Stop, that tickles," and tried to roll over, and she fell on the floor crying because for 3 days I had felt nothing in my feet. And then this day, end of the third day, I felt something in my feet. Once this happened, things started progressing a little faster. A couple days later, I had developed some leg strength, and the doctor came in to check on me. And the doctor of the floor, not the neurosurgeon, he had to leave almost immediately after the surgery because I had it on a Friday. And he had to leave to go someplace else. He actually had to cancel 2 other surgeries he had that day because mine took so long. And I feel so bad for those other guys because my surgery ended up booting them out of theirs. Anyways, he had to go on a work trip of some sort for a week, so I couldn't see him until way later after most of my recovery. But it was like Monday I started getting feeling in my feet, and then it was like Wednesday or Thursday I stood up for the first time with assistance from a couple nurses. And they just wanted me to stand up. And I can't go too far because I have a catheter in me. No, they actually removed the catheter at this point. And I was under pressure to pee because they're like, "Hey, you have 4 hours to pee, otherwise we put the catheter back in." And I'm like, I can feel things down there. A catheter is not going back in. And so I had to urge myself to pee within 4 hours. And so when we do the standing test, I'm like, "I'm going to walk to the bathroom." And the nurse is like, "No, you're not." And I took 2 steps and almost fell. And she goes, "No, we're going to go back to the bed now." And so I made it a point that I am going to go to the bathroom on my own because having to rely on nurses to pee and poop is not fun. I do not recommend. I would not wish this upon my worst enemy. I then started physical therapy after I could get up and move. I went to the bathroom on my own it was like a week after my surgery. I went to the bathroom on my own. And they started me on physical therapy. It was 2 weeks of inpatient physical therapy, I believe. And then I progressed very quickly in that. I had to learn to walk again, which is really fun when you're, 34 years old, 33, 34 years old, and having to learn to walk again. Because the body, the brain knows how to walk, but the body's just like, "Oh, what do we do, man?" So, I then did 2 months of outpatient physical therapy to regain strength, balance, and learn to walk again. And not to toot my own horn, but the outpatient physical therapists were so impressed with my progress because in the span of a week, I went from walking with a walker to jogging on a treadmill. They had never seen such progress before. In fact, they yelled at me the first time I tried to jog on the treadmill because they were like, "What are you doing? You're going to fall and hurt yourself." It's like, you still have like fresh neck surgery. If you fall, you will hurt yourself. And I'm just like, I just wanted to see if I could do it. And after they saw that I could do it it was only for like a minute. A very light jog for a minute before I got exhausted. And they were like, okay, we're going to up your physical therapy requirements. And so after about 2 months, I got back to like 90% strength and finished out my outpatient physical therapy and went back to work. And I have not taken a sick day since, because I was out for almost 3 months of work. So I've not taken a sick day since, excluding Monday of this week. So today is Thursday. Monday of this week I took a sick day because I had to go to the dentist because a filling fell out and I had to go get that fixed. And instead of wasting valuable vacation time, my boss was really cool and he goes, "Yeah, you're going to be sick Monday." Because this happened on like a Wednesday last week. And I told my boss what happened. He goes, "Well, when's the dentist available?" And I go, "Monday at 8 a.m. And he goes, "So you're going to be sick Monday." Got it. And I was like, cool, I don't even have to ask for to qualify it as a sick day. He's just going to give it to me. And so, that happened. That was probably the most major thing that happened to me. And I had 2 near-death experiences in the span of a year. And that caused me to reevaluate some of my life choices. This is what began the process of me going back to church. I told you we'd get back to Jesus here in a minute. And what I'm going to be doing in future videos is I am going to be putting scripture in the beginning of the video. We'll start with a scripture reference. I will read the scripture to you. We will continue on with gameplay. And then I will discuss part of scripture, tell you what's going on in my life, and make idle commentary that's going on in the game. I cannot imagine how many stinky people we're going to meet. Oh, before we do that, I promised you this. So tab opens up your phone. If you come over to here to reviews, you can see how we're doing. And as you can see, lots of 5 stars, 4 stars. It stinks a bit. I was worried about this. Yet Bitchoff. Okay. Hat. Love the prices here. Definitely getting what I need and not breaking the bank. Thank you, Hat. That is a very nice review. I wish it was 5 stars. Oh, he said there's no smell at all. Look at that. So lots of positive reviews. As long as you take care of your customers quickly and effectively, they will leave good start. Like, they will leave at minute. Like, if you take care of them quickly and you eliminate the smelly guys quickly enough, you have some time. They will leave a standard 4-star review. They have a chance, there's a dice roll involved, that they will leave a 5-star review. So as long as you're doing the bare minimum of taking care of the stinkies, keeping your shelves stocked, having good prices, and taking care of the customers quickly, checking them out quickly, and giving correct change. These are basic retail things. If you can do this, you'll get minimum 4-star reviews all day long, with a good dice roll chance for a 5-star review. These encourage more customers. The higher your reviews, the more customers you have. Also, the higher your shop level, the more customers you'll have. The larger your store is, which we can go here, and Reno Big, shop expansions. We can expand the shop. My DIY, this is where we buy racks. This used to be $100, if I remember correctly. No. Yes. No. No, this was $150. This used to be $300, and then they upped it to $450. But they gave us this, which These shelves hold, each shelf will hold 48 items instead of 32. So you have to buy more boxes to fill out these shelves, but they can hold more, so you have to refill them less often. This is what the play table is. This is what we'll do in the next episode. This is how we deal with stinkies without having to chase them down ourselves. But, again, this is stuff that we'll take care of in the next episode. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed my recent life story and events, and the gameplay, and the sporadicness of it. I'm still getting into the swing of things. I'm sorry that the video is so long. Thank you again. I hope you have a great day. God bless, and toodles.